Recently, there's been a lot of chart people coming out and saying, we might be at the end of this bull run, markets might be coming down. A lot of people who are very well known saying that they're selling a certain part of their bag, they're getting out of the market. And in this video, I want to address all of that and give you guys my thoughts on sort of the technical analysis that's going on, the profit taking and all of that, because I know there's been a ton of questions around it. And a lot of people are looking at some of these TA people and saying, you know what, maybe I should be doing the exact same thing. In this video, we're going to cover all of that. I guess I wanted to start off and say, why am I suddenly filming videos outside? Actually, I just moved and the office is still under construction. It's been a super hectic and crazy time, so I apologize for not being as active as I normally am. But it's such a crazy, exciting time in the market. I still want to be able to make the videos, so here I am doing it from my porch in the freezing cold weather, but we'll make do. So apologize, it shouldn't be much longer. I'm hoping things will be back in order next week. But there's been a lot going on, and I appreciate all of you and all of your support for bearing with me. And if you appreciate me being out here in the dark and cold, make sure to smash the like button. I appreciate that. It makes the efforts not go unnoticed. I want to start off though and really talk about a lot of what's going on in terms of like people's opinions on the technical analysts and people selling XRP and selling their digital assets and looking at the 4-year cycle. And I want to start off and say, look, I've been around long enough to see a lot of different TA people make a lot of different projections. I've never really seen anyone get it right. There are some people out there who I think make some of the best short-term calls I've ever seen. And I'm going to put Blockchain Backer in that category. The way he calls short-term movements and reversals and stuff like that is absolutely incredible. And I've seen him be right more times than he's been wrong. But stepping back for a minute, I'm yet to see anyone even come close to projecting long-term cycles, long-term flows. And let me tell you why. There's nothing you can look at on a chart that's going to tell you what's going to come next, because no one knows the reality of what's going to come next. For those of you who are around in 2021, right? A lot of people saw 2021 with FTX and Terra Luna being the top of that 4-year cycle. And a lot of people said, okay, well, we're going into a 2 or 3 year bear market. Almost every single one of those people got it wrong. Additionally, they thought the market was going much, much higher. A lot of those people were saying Bitcoin was going to at least 100,000. It never did. And why did none of those things happen? Well, it's actually very simple. All of these technical analysts, right, were looking at the market from a technical perspective, right? This is what's going to happen if everything just stays the same and there's no big catalyst. But what happened at the top of the 2021 cycle? Well, Terra Luna and FTX blew up. Well, guess what? There was no amount of TA that was going to tell everyone that Terra Luna and FTX were going to go blow up. And guess what? No, there was no amount of technical analysts or analysis that was going to tell people that the recovery was going to be pretty much instantaneous, that there was going to be no loss of confidence in the industry. Yeah, 2 bad players went under, but we're going to move along. No one was projecting that. In fact, a lot of people were talking about, hey, you have 2 to 3 years to load up on your favorite assets, like you get a bunch of time, and 4 months later, Bitcoin's back ripping because guess what? ETF news came out of nowhere. So it's really important to understand, like, there is going to be a lot of people, right, trying to forecast what the next move is going to be, what those next moves will be, how price will increase based off of what the charts are telling them. But the charts can't predict the future any better than you can and any better than I can. I always try to be really upfront with you guys and honest, I talk to a lot of really cool people, a lot of really important people. And the smartest people in the industry, right, will tell you they don't know what's coming next. They don't know what the next move is. They don't know where things are going. I've talked to some of the most successful algorithmic traders, future traders in the world. And it's always so funny. Like, we get on the conversation and they'll look to me who has good insight of XRP and they'll say, hey, like, do you know anything that's coming? Do you know anything that's coming next? Any catalysts? Because at the end of the day, they know it better than anyone. The fundamentals drive the market. I like to say this all the time. There's this normal kind of noise in the cryptocurrency market. And when I say noise, if you've ever seen a sound wave chart, you would know what I'm talking about. If the sound is quiet or if the sound is steady, you constantly see this little chop, right? Sound is steady, you see this chop going back and forth. And that's what I call useful places for technical analysis, right? There's a rhythm to the chop. There's a pattern to the chop, and some people can play it successfully, right? Some people might be able to indicate that when that chop goes up a little bit too quickly, there's likely to be a spike, right? They can tell those things. But guess what? You can't look at a sound chart and figure out when I'm going to yell. You can't figure out when I'm going to go yell and blow that thing off the chart and a whole new move is going to start happening. A whole new base is going to take place. And that's what I think the biggest thing people get wrong with technical analysis. There's no one who's going to be able to predict when I'm going to yell. There's no one going to be able to predict when someone else is going to yell. When there's going to be a noise no one's ever heard of before. Those kinds of things are going to register differently on that sound graph. And the technical analysts, right, they might be perfect at calling the chop. They might get all the chop in that given wave. But they can't predict the future. No one can predict the future. And many times, even on the fundamentals front, like guess what? I don't even know necessarily if Ripple knows when they're going to land the next partnership, when the next development on XRP is going to happen. They might know things in the pipeline, right, that could be received really well by the market. But guess what? There's things that happened really interesting in the market that weren't necessarily priced in the way people expected, and things that people might have thought as negative, like David Schwartz leaving Ripple, that the market reacted positively to. And the moral of the story here, really more than anything, is you have to have your own belief system. If your belief system is dependent on someone else, you're always going to be disappointed. Because everyone wants to tell you they have the answer. Everyone wants to tell you that they know what comes next. It's what makes people feel comfortable. People like comfort more than everything. But the sooner you can accept that no one really knows, the better off you're going to be. Now, for me personally, right, I have a thesis for XRP that it will become a backbone of global finance. And if XRP is the backbone of global finance and the price doesn't increase from where it is today, that would be counter to all logic we have ever seen in any market. No matter what, even from a speculative perspective, the more something is known, the more something is heard of, the more attention there is, there's more buyers than sellers. And when you understand that the equation is just buyers and sellers at the end of the day, you can come to a lot better, more rational conclusions. XRP for me has always been this moonshot, this thing of saying, you know what? If this happens, everything is going to be different. And this asset is going to be valued tremendously different from where it is today. And for me, it's never been a situation of, oh, well, let me get into XRP before this move and get out before that move. What's the point for me, right? Like if my vision is that XRP can do these lofty things, that it can really become a backbone for finance, why am I getting out? What am I getting out for? What am I trying to flip back and forth? I know better than anyone. It could happen any single day. It could never happen. But for me, my thesis lies on it being likely that it happens and likely that I'm going to want to be there for the entire journey. It's kind of like one of those things. It's like you get on a road trip and you travel across you want to go travel across the United States. And then suddenly you decide, oh, well, you know, I'm going to get off here and then restart another year and then maybe get to this point. It's like, no, I just want to get to the end, you know? I want to go through this entire thing. Because if I'm right and my thesis is right, it doesn't make any difference if I get in and out and flip the market and do X and Y and Z. What's the point? And I think that's the biggest thing that I take away from this, right? Do I watch all these analysts and all these people forecast these different prices? Am I excited about it? Do I like to pay attention to it? Do I think it's good to know that they're bullish or bearish? Absolutely. But in terms of like long-term market cycle, what does it matter if I tell you XRP will go to $10 or $20 or $30 or $100? It doesn't make any difference, you know? At the end of the day, XRP is going to do what it's going to do. And if you accept the fact that no one knows, but if XRP is successful, the price will be much higher, I think you end up being pleasantly surprised. You sit a lot more confident in what you hold. Because if you truly understand XRP, and if you're truly bullish on the asset, the price right now doesn't matter, nor does the price next month or next year. These things are inconsequential. Because over the long run, things will be figured out by the market. That's how markets work. It's always how they've worked. And I think understanding that and coming to an internal conclusion that that's the way this is going to go is the best thing for most people. Now, I want to finish this video off with a couple caveats. Everything I said doesn't apply to everyone, right? If you're 70 years old and you're watching this and you're like, oh, well, I just really wanted to go enjoy some of my life, but now I'm never getting, like, it doesn't have to be like that, right? It doesn't have to be like that at all. This video is about my own mission and my own goal and my own way of thinking about the market. But if you're someone who needs money, right? You can improve your quality of life. You can go make someone happy. You can go buy this thing or get yourself out of debt that you've been waiting for, right? These are all perfectly good reasons to go take profits in the market. No one's telling you you can't take profits. No one's telling you you can't go out and enjoy your life. I mean, at the end of the day, we're only here for a set amount of time. XRP will probably be here for the next 400 years. Eventually, everyone will be forced to either give up their XRP or forced to eventually sell at some point. So it's not to say you can't do these things and take profits and enjoy it, but just understand what your mission is, what your goal is. For me, like I said, I'm young. I have a lot of time on this. I can sit. It's been fun for me. I love the journey. I love learning. I love doing these things. And that's not going to change anytime soon. I anticipate when I'm 40 years old that people are going to go and be like, oh, do you still have that XRP stuff? And I'll be like, yeah, of course I do. Why would I have gotten rid of it? Look at where it is now. And people will ask, right? Like, how did you hold it so long through the volatility, through the ups and downs? My answer is it doesn't matter, right? It never mattered to me. At the end of the day, I knew this was going to happen. This was where my thesis was, and I was going to sit back and wait for the thesis to play out. How crazy would it be if people came to me when I was 40 and they're like, and I was like, oh, like I held it for this long and then I got out and I never got. I'm not going to be that person, right? Like I'm going to be the guy who's just like, yeah, I've had it this entire time. And you know, it's not like what I'm saying here, in my opinion, really goes against anyone who's ever been successful. Yeah, ask anyone who's held Bitcoin since 2013. Be like, how happy when you sold that Bitcoin and tried to flip it? I guarantee you, most everyone says, I wish I just held it. Apple stock, Amazon stock, Google stock. There's countless examples. So like what I'm saying here isn't some like crazy novel thesis. It's just sometimes you got to be confident in what you know. You got to be confident in what you hold. And if you're confident in those things, right? The truth of the matter is nothing happens overnight. It's going to take time, but the more confident you are and the higher you think XRP can go in terms of success, common sense and markets tend to be on your side and tend to reward those who are patient and understand that this thing does not get built overnight, but what can be built over a longer time period can be truly transformational. Thank you so much for coming, guys. I hope you enjoyed this update. Hopefully pretty soon I'm not sitting on a porch in the cold anymore, but for now, Mickle out.